especially the first and third measure, it's pretty easy to see two separate pulses, isn't it? Where they could really confuse you is if they gave you an example to figure out that only had half notes in it. And it might still be 2/4, but you wouldn't have very much information that way to actually be able to identify it. Now my number 3 is cut off, but I am able to see the brackets. I can't see the note heads, but take a look at number 3 and tell me what you think that might be. It is 3/8. Now this is a little bit more confusing than it needs to be. If it were really 3/8, a better way to have written that would have been, like I suggested before, the first three measures, the first three notes would be separate, and then there would be doubled 16th notes because they are together like that. That would be a better way of writing 3/8, especially because if you're teaching junior high, and God help you if you ever have to teach junior high, but if you are teaching junior high and they're struggling with this rhythm, you say, point to beat 1, and there's something to point at. If you say, now point to beat 2, what note are you going to be playing when you tap your toe the second time? You put that. And show me where the third one is. That makes a lot more sense. If I write it the way they have it, it's a little bit less defined. In other words, it looks like there's only one beat there. Now, what I usually think, or maybe I should ask you what you would think. Let's put it the way they wrote it. What do you think the composer or the arranger might mean by that? Is there something that you can infer from that? Putting them all in a bracket, as if all of them were one pulse?
They don't want Nagajic accent, maybe?
Those are both really good ideas.
Yay.
Anybody else have any idea what that might mean? What'd you say?
Fast.
Exactly. Fast. If we take this so fast that we can't direct all three, we go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, go. All right? If we do that presto, that makes all the sense in the world. Because in presto, we don't beat 2 and 3. It all comes down to one pulse. Okay? 1, 2, 3, da 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 da. That makes more sense. In other words, measures are flying by at the same time as I'm snapping my fingers. All right, so that would be something that would indicate that that should be a fast piece. Let's look on the next page, page 40. What do you think number 4 might be? 4/2 is right. Whoever said that. Is that Doc? Good job, Doc. 4/2 would be correct. Half notes are the unit of measure, so to speak. All right. What do you think the next number 5 would be?
4/8.
Sorry?
4/8.
4/8 would be close.
2/4. Quarter note.
2/4.
So,
What?
It would be 2/4 because they have grouped those eighth notes into a pulse. If they were single eighth notes, 4/8 would be perfect. Okay?
Next one looks like 2/8.
Very good, Josh. Are we all okay on number 5?
Monsieur.
And Josh makes a very good point for number 6. He says that looks like
2/8.
2/8. We might have otherwise expected to see beams crossing there, right? But the composer wants to make sure that you feel 2 pulses in each measure, so he has separated them. How about number 7?
3-2.
3-2 would work very well. You will also sometimes see 6-4, and that seemed to have been just a preference for certain composers back in the Renaissance period. I never understood why it was 6-4 instead of 3-2, but nowadays it would be 3-2. And finally,
2-2.
2-2 would work. 4-4 would also work. Either one would be just fine. I'm not going to ask you to do the counting symbols on exercise number 2-3. I would rather do page 41 because I believe it's something like this on the test. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to rewrite each of the following rhythmic patterns in the indicated simple meter. You don't actually have to do all of these in class today. We can just think them through, okay? For instance, they gave us up there on the example, they gave us half notes, quarter notes, and eighth notes, and then said put this into 3-4. Now, in number 1, they're asking us to put that into 2-4. Would you, let's see, where did we stop on the, I think Sam, Chris, have you done 2 already? I think you have.
Yeah.
Daniel, would you like to tell us how to cram those into bars?
I would love to. It goes quarter followed by the 2 eighth notes in the first,
Right,
followed by 2 of the quarter notes in the
Right.
second, followed by the next 2 quarter notes,
right,
followed by the next 7 eighth notes, and the last quarter note.
is exactly right. All right, and Doc, would you like to put number 2 into 4-4?
Certainly. You have the first 2 quarter notes and the half note.
Yep.
The first measure. And then there's 2 eighth notes, the quarter note, and one of those half notes in the second measure.
Right,
Then a half note and 2 quarter notes in the third measure, and then the 2 quarter notes and that last half note in the last measure.
that is correct. And Ryan, would you like to do number 3 and 3-4?
Would it be the first 2 quarter notes and the 2 eighth notes in
Yep.
the first one, and the half note and 2 quarter notes in the second?
Just half and 1.
Oh, yeah. And then the same as the first bar,
Mm-hmm.
and the last one and the last.
Dotted half all by itself, very good. And Kyle, how about number 4?
You would have the quarter note in the first 2, in the first rest in the first measure,
Mm-hmm,
the second rest, and the following 3 eighth notes.
mm-hmm,
The next one, the 8th rest, the 8th note, and 1 quarter note.
mm-hmm,
The quarter note and 2 eighth notes,
Mhm.
and the quarter note and quarter rest.
that's it. Flip the page. Josh, number 5.
Okay. You would have the quarter note, quarter rest, eighth note, first measure.
Well, let's try that again.
1, 2, 3. Oh, you would just have sorry, this whole time. So you would have the quarter rest,
Right,
first measure, and then you would have the eighth rest, eighth, and then those first 2 quarters.
first 2 quarters, good.
And then you would have the quarter note, the eighth rest and eighth,
Mm-hmm,
and the next 2 quarters,
mm-hmm,
and then the last 2 quarters and half for the last measure.
very good. And let's see, Elizabeth, can you do number 6 for us?
The first 3 quarter notes go in the first measure,
Right,
then quarter note, quarter rest, quarter note in the second measure,
right,
and then quarter note, and then the 2 eighth notes in the third measure,
mm-hmm,
and then the 2 eighths, the quarter, and the quarter rest, and next to last, and then quarter rest, and dotted half and last.
did we end up with a dotted half all by itself?
Maybe?
We need to,
Okay,
okay? I think you actually had 4 beats in the measure just before that.
okay.
Okay. All right, very good. All right, we're ready to review for the test tomorrow. Um, No, we're ready to review for the test tomorrow. Is this the first you've heard of that? Were you here at the beginning?
You moving that piano?
Oh, well,
I
no,
wasn't.
he wasn't moving it.
Oh,
He was-
were you just not paying attention?
He was sound asleep.
Stop that
we have a test
video.
on